What's going on? Thank you guys for tuning in to the NBA Report on the MBK Network. We are back, folks. You see it. Anyway, once again, I'm here holding it down, but you see the guy to my right or my left. I don't know. Depends on how you're viewing it. But anyway, he's next to me, all right? Eru, Hard Knicks is in the building. What's going on, Eru?
Chilling, man. You know how it is, man. Just came off from work, just like you said, offline, man, and just ready to go. Just some podcasting dudes right here, man. That's what we do.
Hey, man, MBK fam is strong, man. We a unit. We Voltron. We come together when we need to. And we there for each other whenever we need each other. And I needed Eru tonight, so Eru stepped up as always, man. When he can, he will. That's why I appreciate you so much, my brother. And like I tell you before, maybe you forgot. If you ever need me, I'm here.
I got you.
I'm still trying to figure out if Eru has friends. Does Die Hard have friends? Yes. I think I'm one of them too. One of these days you're gonna see me.
Yeah, I gotta do it, man. But you know, people that follow my channel, man, they know that I'm like erratic, man. I just kind of just go on by the seat of my pants. Right now, I'm just focusing on the watch-alongs and stuff like that, trying to stay consistent. But it is what it is.
Yeah. And I did it off camera, and I've done it like in the chats when Eru's been on places, but let me do it on camera. If you guys haven't checked out Die Hard Knicks, by all means, definitely do. I don't know how you wouldn't if you're on MBK, you got to. But besides that, the intro is fire. Shout out to my man Trav B. But the intro, the rap with the visuals, it all came together really nicely. I got to see the kids. Yeah. That was dope.
Excited about that.
That was dope, bro. Good job on that.
Thing, man. He gave me like a hit record, man. He said, hey man, you want an intro? I said, sure, why not? He makes the intro, and I'm like, dude, you said an intro, not a freaking like Grammy nominated record. Like, what the
hell? These dudes are talented, man. The Knicks community is talented. The J Boogies, the Trav B's, the Drugs, all these guys. And guys, for those who may not know, Drugs is the dude who does the intro for Nothing But Knicks for Sims joint. So yeah, man, there's some talented people in the Knicks community. And then not to mention outside of the MBK fam, guys like Cully and Papa Left and all these other dudes, they all there's a lot of talent through and through. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. I see the chat. I appreciate y'all. Salute to y'all. David L is in the building. Appreciate you, my brother. Geraldine McIver, the first lady of still Knicks fans and the Knicks community, is in the building. Let's go. We're back. Steven Mendez is here. Kerry Cox is in the building. Appreciate you. Shout out to those who are watching that aren't in the chat. Thank you for tuning in. Shout out to my brother John. He couldn't be here right now, but for good reason. His son is playing basketball now, so he's taking him all over the games, and it just so happens he's got a game right this minute. So hopefully he's winning. Better make it worth it. Next time I see his son, I'm gonna have a talking to. You better win. And shout out to my guy Jose. Once again, appreciate you, my brother. He couldn't make it either, but it's okay. We got the next one. And one more thing before we get cracking. This is not a huge thing, but I like to kind of keep things in mind. This actually is still Knicks fans' 50th NBA report on Nothing But Knicks. So a little bit of a milestone there. And
It's cool. Hang that one up in the Raptors, man. You guys are extremely, consistent. You bring in the same energy every single time. I watch you guys. You guys do a really good show. But like I said, the most important thing is consistent. So it's not easy, man. 50 podcasts, and then we have life, that we have to do too. So It's really cool
Yeah.
what you guys are doing.
Yeah, man. I had to tell my wife the other day, yo, I know you're sick, but you got to get better because I got to do my podcast. No, I'm just joking. I didn't tell her that. I didn't tell her that. But it's crazy because I looked at it the other day. Like we try to be here, man. It's tough, but YouTube, man, the algorithm cracking the whip on you, man. Anyway, shout out to Kaiju in the building. I'm gonna highlight Kaiju. I don't think I've seen you. You might have been on MBK on other shows in the past, but this might be your first time tuning into the NBA report. If it is, thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Shout out to Almighty Finesse in the building. And okay, yeah, I got everybody else. Okay, cool. All right. So first off, let me just say, I don't know how you feel about it, Eru. I don't know how much of the other teams you've been watching around in the NBA, but the last couple of weeks we've been talking about how crazy the scoring has been in the league. Like dudes is dropping numbers, and this week is no different. Guys who we're not even talking about like the talent, the premier talent in the league. Guys are dropping numbers. You got the Terry Rozier's putting up the 40. Laurie Markkinen putting up 40. Like guys is dropping digits, bro. It's crazy. Like, what do you think it is that's playing into this whole newfound scoring that's happening? And the funny thing about it, another thing we talked about last week, is that the scoring's happening, but it's not like explosive. Like back in the day, we used to see like, okay, 3-point shooting, but dunks, like guys getting yammed on and all these easy, like people are scoring pretty much. They're working for their points, but they're getting them. You know what I mean? So, excuse me. What do you think about what's going on with today's NBA and the scoring?
Well, we were talking about that today at work, man. 'Cause in the early 90s, say, yo, man, everybody's scoring all these points. I mean, 150 is becoming like a normal thing. Like you said, like teams that are at the bottom of the league, they got guys scoring 40 points and stuff like that. So I mean, I think I attribute it to just to the way that the game is being played. Always the offense is always ahead of the defense. Eventually the defenses will start to figure out what the offense is doing, and then things will taper out again. I also think that the lack of big men out there plays a part in this. So that definitely, if there was a big man game, it will slow it down a little bit so you can give them the ball, inside. So things always come full circle. Things always change and come back. Shout out to the 80s. In the 80s, there was like a big spike in scoring, not to this degree, but they were scoring a lot in the 80s. But then the defense caught up, and that's when the Knicks and the Detroit Pistons and stuff like that came in and put a clamp onto all of that. So throughout time things change. The offense catches up again, and then the defense catches up. So I just think that's what's going to happen with all this.
Yeah, everything comes full circle. I hear you. Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's how everything works in life, and the NBA and sports is no different, bro. So that's a good point. Yeah, because it's just wild, man. I'm just looking at some of these numbers, and it's just now. I wonder, the athletes are stronger, they're faster, they're more conditioned, and whatever. They learn more about their bodies, so they're able to do more. But is it also a lack of defense? Has that taken a backseat overall? Like was it last week, or I think it was last week? John and I took a look at like the NBA scoring, as far as teams go, and the team that scored the least amount of points was Miami at 30th, and they average 109 points per game, bro.
Wow.
So I'm like, damn.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah, teams like even the Knicks. The Knicks kind of play like an open style of offense, at least for the first 3 quarters. The Knicks do that. They move the ball. It's really like a read and react kind of thing. Against us, every single team, if we miss a shot or if we get a turnover, they just run down on us. Everything is a fast break, and the fast breaks are not going like this anymore. To the basket, they're going like this, where they drive in and they're kicking out to get transition 3-point shots. So just the game has changed, a little bit. So like I said, I'm not really worried about it too much. I just think it's just gonna give birth to the next phase in the NBA. The game is just always gonna get better and better.
Yeah, I hear you on that. That makes sense. Shout out to Tony Bell. Salute. I see you in the chat. Appreciate you. My guy JJ is in the building. Salute, JJ. Appreciate you, bro. He said defense is a pride and effort thing. Most guys don't want to do it. Yeah. I mean, one of the things that we talk about in today's NBA is how guys play different and how they're kind of soft in comparison to what we grew up with in the 80s, 90s. You could even go back to the 70s. Things were a little wild at moments. But now everybody's friends or Um, the I feel like the passion is not there anymore. Like guys look at this as a job. You know what I mean? I got to go out there. I'm supporting my family. Got to do what I got to do. But it's not that whole like dudes want to put it on the line for their teams. I don't feel that same level. There's some throwbacks still around, like LeBron, Jimmy Butler, these type of guys. They still have that, but I don't feel like a lot of the league is like that. What do you think about that? Like if guys, even give that same type of passion for what they're doing now.
Yeah, the whole thing with it's a business thing, and that was always a big thing when LeBron first came in. He basically started that way of thinking, so he just gave birth to a whole different generation that more self-aware of their branding, self-aware of social media. What everyone's saying, the pulse of, the basketball community. They know what's going on. Everything that we post, all of our videos, and just anybody, comments and underneath posts and stuff. They're very aware of all of that stuff. So I just think that trickles on to the court. Quite a few guys, man. I'm thinking of Kelly Oubre, even like let's say like a Kazuma, it's gonna be Kuzma, excuse me. They're into the fashion stuff. They got the hair going and stuff like that. They're very self-aware of their image out there. So I think they more care about that, what builds their brand than really like the product on the court. But like you said, there are players out there that are throwbacks. Shout out to Julius. I think Julius Randle and Brunson. Brunson's a cycle to me. I think they're both cycles. Even RJ, he takes things very serious. So we have a team that's kind of semi old school, whatever. But I'm hoping that the Knicks can continue to build on that. Just keep adding players similar to them that really care about the sport. I think that's the right way to go for us.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. That does make sense. Shout out to Bricks Nation, Sherwin. I see you. Philip Casanovas is in the building, and the still Nick fans Barber, and I think he's the barber of the Nick community as well. Dripmore's in the building. Let's go. Okay, appreciate you guys, man. Yeah, I think it's just one of them things, man, that today's NBA, like I can't really criticize it anymore. It's been here for a while now. It's like, right. When it was new, we were like, oh, look at these dudes. They're soft. They don't, people come in the lane. They just let them dunk on them. They don't do nothing. They don't put anybody on their butt. But that's been happening for years now. So it's not even like new anymore. Like this is how the NBA is. You got to deal with it.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
We're like old guys. We're like get off our lawn kind of guys.
Yeah, right. I feel like an old rapper, bro. Like these. Yeah. I don't like this new music.
Yeah, I mean, the music, basketball, hip hop culture, even our kids in the schools and stuff like that. I feel like the kids are a lot more disrespectful, but they said that about us when we were coming up too. So,
facts. Once again, back to your point, it's all a cycle, bro.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's a big cycle. Things will balance itself out. We just have to get to know each other. The generation is different. Things are speeding up faster because of social media and because of the internet. So things will work itself out.
Yeah. Hopefully, shout out to the whole MBK crew. Once again, there's the basketball game is tomorrow, guys. So if anybody was fortunate enough to get tickets, or if you're in the DC area and you're going to the game, shout out to y'all. I'm sure they're gonna have a great time. Tomorrow, Knicks play the Wizards.
Yep.
Yeah. And I almost called them the Bullets. I was like, whoa. Talking all this throwback stuff had me back in the day for a minute. Yeah, man. So shout out to them. It should be a good game, and a game that the Knicks should have a chance to win, even though the Wizards, they've been playing off and on pretty well. So you got to watch them. They're not a pushover. So that should be fun. And everybody in the MBK crew and all the people who got tickets, enjoy yourselves. I'll be watching from afar, but I'm there in spirit.
Yeah, me and Steph will be there. Me, Steph, Sim. And Kareem Grant, for guys that know Kareem Grant from the chat. A couple other guys too. Yeah, should be like about 10 guys all together hanging out.
Oh, I didn't even know you was going. I would have shouted you out too. My bad. Are you going to the one on Martin Luther King Day, or no, not that one?
That I need to consult with my business manager because I'm already going to DC, and she's like, so if I come back and talk about I'm gonna go to a game on Martin Luther King Day, she might. She might close the door, lock the doors on me,
But I will tell you, if you had to make a choice between the Martin Luther King game and the DC one, the DC one was a good one because it's an experience. You get to go to DC and watch a game in their arena. That's pretty dope. So yeah, I think you went with the right one.
And I get to get away from the wife for a little while too.
Nobody heard that. No, nobody knows. I'm with you, brother. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So that should be pretty fun, guys. Anyway, uh, I think it's time we take a look at what's going on tonight because there are some games that are happening this evening, and then we'll get into our usual check a quick look at the standings, see what's happening around the league. First off, let's pull this puppy up. Okay, and there we go. How many games we got tonight? Not that many. It's a kind of quiet. All right, so let's pull this up and take a look at what's happening.
Well, 6 games on the schedule tonight.
6 games, that's not bad. Easier to go through.
Yeah. 4 in progress right now. Everybody's just almost at the halftime mark too.
Okay. All right, let me just drop this down because this will look crazy if I keep that up. All right. Okay, guys. So this is what's going on right now. Get you out of here. As you can see, we got the Thunder versus the 76ers. The Thunder, I think, are pretty much healthy with the the exception of their number 1 draft pick rookie. Number 2 draft pick rookie. Or was he number 3? What was Chet? Was Chet 2 or 3?
I believe he was he 2? I think he was 2.
I think he was 2, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But the 76ers have gotten pretty much all their guys back. Maxi's back, Harden's there tonight, Embiid is playing. And as you guys can see, it's 67-57. The Thunder are up at the half. Go figure. I cannot call this today's NBA, bro, because some of these games, you think the Philadelphia 76ers with Maxi back, with Harden there, with Embiid there, you still got the kid from Long Island. I always forget his name.
Tobias Harris.
Mm-hmm. And then all their other pieces, they got all those guys there. And they're losing by 10 at the half to the Thunder. The Thunder is still an up-and-coming team. Don't get me wrong. They've got talent, but this always surprises me when I see stuff like this, bro.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a team like the OKC, they have plenty of guys that they can actually get like a rotation thing going, but they actually rotate guys in and out of their rotation constantly. You know, they can go like 15 deep because they all are young guys. See, that's the problem with like drafting. Like a lot of fans want us to do what they're doing, just keep drafting players and rotating them out. But when do you like draw the line and say, okay, listen, we're gonna go with these guys here? You know, we can't. Everybody can't get a shot. We can't still be developing the entire team. You know, somebody's got to have a favorite. So I think that's what it is too. Maybe with OKC is like scouting. How could you scout them? Because they never have a set lineup, so they could take teams by surprise often. You know,
that's a good point. That's a very good point. And so, you know, we're in the situation right now where they are playing pretty good in that first half. Yeah, these NBA sites have been a little trippy lately. Have you look at? Oh, okay, now I see it. It changed.
Yeah, NBA.com is really messed up. ESPN, I don't even mess with, man. You know, they all got like bugs and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Weird. So that game is on tap. And then you got the Celtics versus the Nets. And if I'm not mistaken, well, we know KD is out, but also I think, let me just double check. I believe Jalen Brown is out in this game. Yes, he is. He's out after dropping 41 the last game. So Tatum is holding it down by himself, but it looks like the leading scorer is Derek White. Okay. All right. And for the Nets, it's TJ Warren. Okay. All right. So that game is tied 53-53 in the second quarter, almost at the half. Can I get the 10-piece chicken McNuggets? Wait, no, Big Mac. And so you got that going on. Then you got the Bucks versus the Heat, which you look at this game and you say this should be a good game, right? But last time I checked, and let me just double check, I don't think Giannis is playing. No, he is not. So there's no Giannis in this game. Jimmy Butler is out there. Yes, he is. There's no Tyler Hero. Ugh, these games are nasty, bro. Not for nothing. Like, if you like watching like the better players on these teams, each of these games have guys missing, except for the first game so far. Yeah, I don't know, dude. And I don't even know. Lately, I think Antetokounmpo not playing, I think, is a good thing. I don't think he's hurt, but I think he probably needed a rest because lately he hasn't been looking very Giannis-like.
Especially after the last game with the Knicks. I feel like we beat him up that game.
Maybe,
He
yeah.
yeah, he didn't have that big scoring game, but he was playing extremely hard just to be efficient, to get the
Yeah.
ball out to the shooters. The Knicks let them off the hook. I think if the Knicks played better, perimeter defense, we would have held them down. So Miami's messed up too. I can't wait to play Miami. We literally play Miami like almost back to back. All 4 games are like literally almost right on top of each other.
Wow.
Yeah, because we haven't played them yet. Yeah,
Damn,
so I'm
that's
anxious to,
crazy.
to suit up against that team.
Yeah, every time we play Miami, they spank us. So if this is the time to get them, then we need to get them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look at that. Miami. And this is another thing about these teams, right? When you look at Miami, look at this. Highsmith, Jimmy Butler, Adebayo. Then you got Gabe Vincent, Struess, Kane, Robinson, Oladipo, Haslam. I mean, no, not Haslam. Forget like, what is this team? Who are you afraid of out here? Nobody, bro. After Adebayo and Butler,
Like, who are these guys? I see somebody named Kane. Who the hell is Kane?
uh, the
And they got
dude from
another guy,
Batman. I don't know.
Highsmith. Who is that?
I have never seen Highsmith. To be honest, I've never seen Highsmith a day in my life. So I don't know. Miami's been going through some things lately. And that's what's interesting to me, because even with Hero, if he was playing, and if Deadman was playing, no, not Deadman's he's used up too. If Hero was playing, you still look at this team and like, they are missing a lot. Where's all the scoring coming from with this team? Don't get me wrong. I know Gabe Vincent and Struess played really well for them last year, but this year is a new year, and you just can't depend on them being the scoring options. And I think that's part of the reason why Miami has struggled. We'll take a look at this. So right now, oddly enough, Miami has struggled all year, but they're still 2 games over 500. I guess good teams find the way.
Yeah, give it up to the coach. That Coach Spoelstra he's going to go down as one of the greatest coaches that the NBA has ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Because he always gets the best out of this talent, and they could bring it with anybody. Guys you never heard of are taking it to teams every single night.
Agreed. So you got that game on tap. Then we've got the Hornets versus the Raptors. In typical fashion, you would think the Raptors would be winning in this game. They are 61-47. However, you can't downplay Charlotte, because Charlotte is such a weird team. Last year, I coined them to be the Jekyll and Hyde team. This year, I think the Knicks got that, because the Knicks are all over the place. Sometimes they're incredible, sometimes they're not. The Hornets, just like they playing bad right now, easily they could come back and win this game, or the next game they could wind up beating a team you think they have no chance of beating. They're a weird team.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, right? I saw a video that they were asking kids, like, when they hear the name Melo, what player do they think of?
Oh,
So a
boy.
lot of them were saying, we would say like Carmelo Anthony, and it's like blasphemous to say anything other than that. But the kids are saying, LaMelo Ball, and
Sheesh.
they have every right to do that, though. You know what I'm saying? So that's
Yeah,
the time right now.
that's true, man. That sucks. Yeah, but that makes sense. It was the fact that you said it. As soon as you said it, I'm like, yeah, I know. Yeah, of course. Everything's changed so quick, man.
Yeah.
That's a shame. But I will say, the one thing I will give LaMelo credit for, as much as that family has been in the media and they've really pumped up their status, the kid can ball. And when he goes out there healthy, he balls. So I give him credit. Like, it's not like it's all talk with him. That kid is good.
Yeah, no pun intended, right? Ball.
Facts.
Yeah.
So that game is ongoing. And then you got 2 other games going on tonight. You got the Lakers versus the Mavericks, which probably, I would think on paper, you might say that's the game of the night. James versus Doncic. I'm sure they're going to go at it and have good numbers. And then you've got the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Trailblazers. We'll see how that game fares. And that's kind of rounded out the lineup for tonight, folks.
Yeah, those last 2 games, I think, if I was on the West Coast, I would stay up to watch them, because those teams are more evenly matched. The Lakers, with, like you said, the Lakers have LeBron, and the Mavericks have Luka, but the rest of the team is trash. So it's gonna be one star versus the next star. Who can, make the most out of it? It's like a recycle bin. Who can make use of their garbage better? To get the win.
Exactly. You're right, 100%. Let me see here. Okay, cool. Yeah, so and then you got them, and then obviously you got the Jekyll and Hyde player of the league. To me, is Donovan Mitchell this year, because even though Donovan has had some incredible games, he's had a couple stinkers too, off and on. Like he's had some weird games, and not everything's a stinker, but he can go from scoring 30 something points to scoring 16,
Yeah.
or go from scoring 40 points to scoring 12. I couldn't believe he scored 12. But he, and then obviously we know he scored 71 or 70 points. Like he's a beast, but I think maybe it's just like it's still hasn't found that level of comfort yet with Cleveland. I
Yeah.
mean, he's a good player. He fits in there, I think, but it's I don't know if he's comfortable yet.
He has a weird demeanor too. Like he'll
Yeah.
score 46 and he'll be like he'll have the same demeanor as if he had 16. Like there's
Mm,
like no change in how he gives it up. So I don't know if he's like a true go-to player or if he's like if he has that killer instinct. I'm not sure, if he has any of that. He's just a very talented player. So if he has it going, he goes for it, but the energy is always the same. So to me, I don't think he makes the team better per se. So
hmm
I mean, like if the Knicks were to get him, I'm not sure, if we would have picked him up during the summertime, we probably would have saw that firsthand. Yeah, he's really talented, but is he making us better? That type of thing. So I think that's the knock
Exactly.
on Donovan a little bit.
That's the thing that I wonder about, and that's the thing I wonder about with any of these good players, especially in terms of our Knicks. Like the Knicks looking to acquire talent, who's that young star or up and coming player that they might be able to acquire to add to the team? Everything's a question mark, bro. Because even these guys have talent, but you just don't know how it's going to fare once you get them in your building, on your team, in your culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This year there's a lot of 20 point a game scores. It's like I forgot the exact number, but there's a whole lot of them. I'm trying to get it now. 21, 20, whatever. So I mean, up to 43. There's like well, if you count RJ Barrett, he has 19.9. If you count RJ
Mm,
Barrett, there's 43 20 points game scores in this league. So
wow.
all those guys superstars. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
All those guys all-star caliber players. You know what I'm saying? It's a
Yeah, yeah. Nah, I hear you. Some of those guys, this you got the Terry Roziers of the world in there. Don't get me wrong, Terry Rozier is a very good NBA player, but is he a star, superstar? Nah, that's another story.
Yeah. Let me throw Tyrese Halliburton under the boat because he played against Brunson.
Okay, Wally.
Yeah, right. The fake all-star and stuff. So people were like in the chat, shout out to Almighty Finesse. He was saying that, oh man, he's nice. Halliburton is nice. But we just played them. And I didn't when I saw Halliburton, I didn't think that he was like a 20 point a game scorer. And it didn't like really click to me that he was like quote unquote nice. You know what
Hmm
I'm saying? He's just like a part of this new era of NBA basketball where the scoring just seems to be a little bit easier. I really can't really describe it any other way. So guys that wouldn't normally score 20 are getting 20. You got Franz Wagner. Second was he a first year? Is he a rookie, Franz Wagner?
No, no, no. This
His
is
second
either
year?
his second or third.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's quite a few players that are scoring 20 points that it's like, I've seen them play that they don't really jump out at me as like, wow, we got to be careful of that guy, you know?
You're right. But that points to today's NBA too. Like, I mean, it makes sense that there'd be more 20-point scores because there's so much scoring going around in the league. Yeah, so I guess that works hand in hand.
Yeah.
I could understand that. It's very different now, man. It's very different. And now, which makes me wonder, like in the end, when it comes down to it, you could have 3 or 4 of these guys in your team. But if your team doesn't play defense, especially when it comes to the playoffs, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, shout out to Portland. They have Anthony Simmons. He's scoring 22 points per game, and then his teammate Jeremy Grant is scoring 21 points, and then they got Dame too. But
Hmm
they can lose any night as well. They're like a mediocre team because they don't play the defense that they need to get to take it themselves to the next level.
And the other thing is, I find that with teams like that, when you, especially with guys who play like similar positions, these guys kind of, it's hard for them to all be really successful at the same time because they
Right.
kind of step on each other's toes. Like, one guy's cooking, you're going to just take the ball out of his hands and give it to the other guy so he can get his points. It's like, it's tough. And like, they can't get a rhythm.
Right.
So I guess we could say like, uh, if the Knicks are somehow able to consistently have Randall getting his 20 points, Brunson getting his 20 points, and RJ getting his 20 points, then that's a really good achievement because it's not easy to pull off.
Right. Well, like you
Yeah.
said, can we get the balance where every single night all three of those guys getting 20? You know, that's not really the case. You know, it's always somebody's always top heavy compared to the other. Or if two are cooking, the other one is just being a role player for the night.
Yeah, it's like you got to have the right dynamic, which makes it easier. It doesn't make it perfect, but like Philly is a really good dynamic because you got Harden, who's the point guard, and then Maxey is the shooting guard, and then you got a center who can score. So they can all kind of do it in different ways, but it's not even for them. It's not that easy because we know Harden can be questionable. But
Yeah.
yeah, man. But looking at the standings, you can see Boston's going streaking again. They won 4 in a row. They're 30-12 at the top the East, and I think that's the best record in the NBA. Yes, it is. Then Brooklyn is 27-13. They've won 2 in a row. I don't know how they're doing it, how they're gonna do it now without KD, but thank goodness they went on that 12-game win streak. It bought them a lot of time, so they can kind of hold it together until they get him back. And then you got Milwaukee rounding out the top 3 with 27-14. They also won 2 in a row. And you know what? Throw Philadelphia in there too, because they've won 2 in a row and they're 25-15. And in typical Philadelphia fashion, bro, they're always at the top in the East.
Yeah. If you look at those two, the top 4 teams, even throwing if you want to throw Cleveland in there, all those teams have a superstar, quote unquote. You know, some of them have more than one. You know, so that's why they're up there. Like if the Knicks had an extra one of these 20-point a game scorers, if we had an extra one, you know, maybe we would be able to compete with a team like that. But the Celtics have 2, the Nets have 2, the Bucks maybe they might have 2. It's tough. It's tough playing in a league like that where it's so top heavy like that, where they just have so many like major superstars in the NBA, on one team.
And the Sixers have 2 as well.
Right.
Even though he's starting to kind of fall out of that mix, but he still gets it for now. That's Harden.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting. And you see the Knicks are right there, even though they're in 6th place. I mean, they're 23-19, and you compared, they're just 3 games back of 4th place.
That's amazing.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what's going on in the East. And then you take a look at the West, and the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets are 28-13. They've won 4 in a row, and they've been playing really good basketball lately. And one of the things that I highlighted for this show in the thumbnail is Denver kind of making their claim to put themselves in position to be an elite team. Because not only have they been winning consistently, they've been beating good teams lately. So they've been showing that they definitely are a good team, and we got to look at them like maybe they're one of the best teams in the league now. They're not the best, but they could be one of the best.
I can't even recall who's on their team. Is everybody healthy there? Everybody's healthy now?
Right now they are. Yeah. I don't know how long that's gonna last, but right now everybody's healthy.
Okay. They got Caldwell Pope over there. They got Murray. They got Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., and Jokic.
Yep.
Yeah, it's decent. Decent starting lineup there.
And what's his face? Even though I don't like him, he's been playing well for them too. Aaron Gordon. So
yeah. They got Bones too. That crazy kid Bones.
Bones Highland, right?
Yeah, he's freaking nuts, man.
he's a wild boy, huh?
Yeah, the way that he plays, he's very aware of the camera. Like there's a couple times where he made like a little layup, whatever, and his eyes are right on the camera, like that's what I'm saying. It's a social media area, so these guys are really, really super aware of where the cameras are and how to build their brand and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They're thinking about beyond basketball, and that's something that hasn't really been the case throughout the years. It's a different world we're in right now.
Today's NBA, bro. It's definitely
NBA players have their own podcast. Freaking Draymond Green has a top podcast right now. So the JJ Redick has a podcast. It's like bugged out. Like, how do you have a podcast but you're talking about other players in the NBA, but you play in the NBA too?
I don't even know if that's like I don't know if they would want to do that because the players would probably fight, but I think that that's not something they planned for when they did the CBA agreement. I think that's something they want to take a look at going forward.
Yeah.
JJ's okay now because he's removed now, but Draymond's still playing, so it's kind of wild. I don't know.
Yeah, social media is bugged too, because I mean, guys want to be rappers and they want to be models and stuff like that. So, like some of the guys social media, sometimes you look at a random player and they might have like 100,000, subscribers, getting close to like almost 2 million or a million subscribers, and you're like, well, why is this guy? Because they're so self aware of their image and stuff like that. It's like they
Mhm.
more care about that than anything else. Like that trumps it all in this day and age.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're right, man. Like this, I never thought we'd be in this type of time, but we're here.
Yeah,
And what matters to these guys these days is a lot different from what we grew up on. But like we talked about earlier, you got to adapt. Things are different, and that's just how it is. Like that's life.
yeah,
Um, as I was saying before, Denver has beaten the Clippers. They've beaten Cleveland late in the past games. They beat the Clippers a couple times. They've beaten Golden State a couple times. Uh, they have beat Utah. They beat OKC for the most part. Whatever. Um, yeah, yeah. But for the teams at least in the West that have been good, they've been knocking them out. So yeah, and the West is real funky right now. With shout out to the Golden State Warriors who just got back Steph Curry not too long ago. So maybe they're going to get back to where they were, but they have struggled, and definitely with Curry being out, um, they have looked very human. And Phoenix has looked really bad without Devin Booker.
yeah,
So there's room if a team really, uh, grinds these games out, they can make some real big headway. So Denver is definitely in position. Now, the team that's probably got the best chance to kind of run away in the West is the Memphis Grizzlies, who are smoking hot. They've won 8 in a row. They're 28-13 right now, tied with Denver. Um, but they've been on fire, bro.
yeah. One thing about these teams is that they're not like the East. The top four teams have like two superstars basically. The top four teams in the East, but in the West, they're more like teams. That they have that one superstar. The top teams have that one superstar and just really good players around them. They have like a good starting five along with that superstar player, and then they have a couple guys on the bench that could start as well. That just rounds out their team. So that's the difference between the East and the West right now.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the West teams might have better all around team players, like a great better role players and stuff on their teams, and they really complement the one star that some of these guys might have.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, we've seen Dallas play, right? And you notice that Dallas is not great. They don't look that solid, yet they're still 4 games over 500.
Right.
If in fifth place in the West. So yeah, man, having a superstar player on your team makes a difference. Luka is
Yeah.
basically carrying that team by himself.
Yeah. Basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's very interesting. And so what we like to do here now is we like to highlight whoever we because the show comes on Thursday. We usually use Wednesday nights are usually jam packed with games. Last night not so much. It was a good slate, but usually like it's full of games. So we like to take the player of the night and highlight that person. And last night's player of the night, let's see, let's put our thinking cap on here because I'm excited. I wonder who it could be.
From yesterday.
Oh man. Yeah, from
I'm
yesterday.
thinking Brunson, right? Brunson.
He was in the running. He was in the running.
Okay.
So I wish I could do both of these at the same time, but there's no way for me to do it. Okay, but whatever. I'll do it after. It's gonna be off. It's weird. Okay. This is last night's player of the night, the NBK player of the night, folks, on the NBA report. Let's go. Hey, that's right. There he is. And here's the music.
I like that.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, man. Jalen Brown got busy last night. 41 points, 12 rebounds. It was kind of surprising because it's really interesting to see when that they're able to get this type of play from two guys, because
Yeah.
like you would think if Jalen Brown is cooking like this, then Jason Tatum probably got like 20 points maybe, or he's deferred. Jason Tatum had like 30 points himself. Like, I don't know how they pull this off, but they do it, and they do it really well, man. That these two guys are really good.
But they're consistent. I think Tatum is about 30 points right now, and he averages on 27, I believe, or close to it last time I checked.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And it's so funny, dude. What a difference a half a year makes. Like, it's the beginning of last year. These two guys, they were talking about like we got to split them up because they can't play together.
right.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
After RJ hit that game winner, it
Yes,
gave
sir.
them a revelation. They found out what they were made of at that point. And so
Yeah, man.
Tatum is averaging 30, man, 30.8. And this kid, Jalen Brown he's averaging 27. That's amazing.
Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. So shout out to Jalen Brown. You got the NBK player of the night. Good for you, buddy. All right. Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't know how they do it, but they're really good. And I tell you, man, if there was a guy that honestly that I think the Knicks need to make their numero uno priority, it's Jalen Brown. I think Jalen Brown answers. He checks a lot of boxes for this New York Knicks team. Is he good offensively? Yes. Can he get hot and carry you? Yes. Is he good defensively? Yes. He would be the perfect player to add to this Knicks team. And I honestly, some people may look at him and say, well, okay, if you're going to trade for a guy, you want like a Donovan Mitchell, you want this guy, you want a Shea. Let me tell you something. As much as I like those players, I'd give the haul for Jalen Brown. I think Jalen Brown can do it all.
Yeah, he's averaging 27, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and great percentages right along with it, man. So he's right on par with the Donovan Mitchell and stuff like that. And if anything, with him being so tall, he's like what, 6'6"? I thought he was taller than that, but he's 6'6", so he has a little bit more height to him.
Mhm.
I guess he's long this way. You got long
Right.
arms and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So I would definitely, I would take him, 10 times, a month of Sundays. I would pick my man, every single day, man. He's really
Mhm.
good.
I'd
I'm
be
trying
real.
to figure out what's his contract situation?
I think he's up. I think he might be up after this year. If I'm
Okay,
not
well,
mistaken.
this year he's making 28 mil, which isn't much. Next year he has another guaranteed year at 30 million. So
Oh,
he'll
it's
be a
it's
free agent in
okay.
2024.
Okay. So next year he's got that expiring.
Oh, don't start nothing, man. Because now it's gonna be a campaign. We got to get Jalen Brown on the Knicks now in 2 years.
Dude, let me tell you something. That's who we should be looking at. We need to be like all this other stuff is all question marks. Like Shea Gilgris, OKC loves this kid. Do they want to pay him big money right now? Maybe they don't. But going forward, they know he's the best thing they got right now. And eventually they're going to have to buck up and start paying guys because you can only keep this youth movement going for so long. I get it. It's the small market team. They don't have a lot of money. And they're just trying to really build and cultivate. But when you got a good player like that, and your asking price is astronomical because remember OKC doesn't need anything. They got all the draft picks. They got everything they need. So you got to come with the some blow them out the water thing to get Shea.
Yeah,
And even though Shea is a phenomenal offensive threat, he don't play the defense that Jalen Brown plays. And for a Knick team that we've been talking about, oh, Donovan, the small backcourt, all this stuff. Don't get me wrong, I still would have took Donovan, but you don't got to worry about that with Jalen Brown. He checks the boxes. He plays offense and defense.
right.
He's the guy that I would pony up, bro. Everybody's untouchable, but I honestly, if I had a plan, I would want to hold on to two guys, three really, because I would want Grimes as well. But really, I need Jalen and I need Julius. You give me
Yeah,
Jalen Brown, those three. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I want to get rid of RJ, but RJ might have to go to get a Jalen Brown.
right.
I'm okay with it because Jalen he's the real deal. And RJ's my favorite player, and I'm still willing to do that for Jalen Brown.
Yeah.
Just saying.
You know, the Knicks have like 30 something million, close to 40 million of worth of players that we're not using. You know, so if there's a way that we can get rid of those guys by 2024, then we can think about it. But we're talking about adding age to our guys too. You know, because Julius and Jalen are up in age too.
Mm-hmm.
That's a different story as
Mm-hmm.
well. So I mean, like if we like say like we were talking about Zach LaVine, a lot of fans talking about Zach LaVine and those type of guys. So like if you was to trade for a guy like that, then he gives you a player to trade down the road.
Right. Yep.
So
Uh,
like it just gives you the ammunition to do that. But I mean, we're really playing games with our imaginations and stuff like that, trying
yeah, exactly. It's all fun and games right now. There's none of this is real. And honestly, if anybody was going to get Jalen Brown, you're not doing it this year. You
right,
hope. I mean, if you had a hope to get him, you hope that Boston doesn't make it, doesn't win the championship or whatever, and then the Boston is just frustrated and they decide to move on from him. But most likely it's a pipe dream. Anyway, but at least I got it out.
right. Yeah, that's the thing too. A lot of people get mad. There's a couple people, making comments in the chat and stuff. But I mean, like you said, this is all for fun. Like if we were so like serious, then it wouldn't be a podcast. It would just be, me and you like sternly talking to the chat and telling them how dumb they are and giving the stern takes and that stuff like that. It's more fun to play with it, because it's a game.
Yeah,
Play with the
exactly.
game. We're playing, right? Having a good time here.
It's just like my whole thing is if you're going to shoot for the stars, then shoot for the stars.
Right.
You shoot for the stars, then you come down to the meteorites and all that other stuff. That's how it works. You go for this first, and you come down. Because one thing you could say about Jalen Brown, and this is the last I'll say about it: if the guy stinks it up on offense, the guy's playing defense.
Yeah.
And if the guy's not having a great defensive night, which I've never really seen him have a bad defensive night, to be honest, he's always been good. But if he is, then most likely he's giving you offense. Like he's that type of player. And so some of these other guys, if they're one trick ponies, when that trick ain't working, you just gonna be like, oh, this dude's a bum. We get Kyle Kuzma here, and there might be some fans that be like, yo, what's wrong with Kyle Kuzma? He's a bum. And we traded all these guys for him. That's all I'm trying to say. It's
Right.
okay with I'm okay with Kuzma or some of these other guys to help the roster, but that shouldn't be your star target. You should target the biggest guys you can get, and then work your way down if it doesn't look like a possibility. That's
Right.
all.
But
All right.
it comes to the point too. Like if we get a Kuzma, Kuzma could be added used in the package to get Brown down the line. You're signing trade.
Correct. Yeah, there's always ways to flip it. And that's the thing that Eru just said that is my biggest issue with this Knick front office. One, we're scared to make moves. And the other thing is our forecast for how we make moves doesn't show a lot of, it doesn't show a lot of extended thought for me.
Yeah.
Like there should be a move. Okay, this move sets up this move. And if, this works, we can do this. And if this don't work, we have this plan. The Knicks, I thought, was working that way because they always seem like they're doing something. Oh, we're trading back this, we're trading back that. This year we decided to flip this guy. We only drafted, this guy. But I'm not seeing the thing. Where's the pot of gold? I'm not seeing it. So
It's no foresight. No foresight.
Yeah. All right. Okay. That's enough of my high horse, my rant about who we should get and putting another name out there. But now I've done it. Jalen Brown. Shout out to Jay Boogie. Appreciate you, my boy. He said energy levels up. Hit that like button, please. Shout out to the chat. Blessings, health, and happiness. We can spell two names for 4 letters. Guess that's right. Ron and John, still Knick fans. Guest star Eru. That's right. In the building. Eru, the madness is here.
Jay Boogie's on fire, man. He put out that new song, man. That song is crazy, man. But yeah, super talented. You said it earlier in the podcast. There's a lot of talented Knick fans out there, man. Really doing it big on this.
It's all over. It's all over, bro. Yeah. We survived 100 people. The Sphe Hive is in the building. Kenny Payne said, "Stop the cap." I don't know in particular what you're talking about, Kenny Payne. Maybe it's the Jalen Brown thing. It could be. I don't know. Shout out to you, my brother. Keith Turner's in the building. Salute. Cormega is here. Was good, my guy. King John 1985 is in the building. He said the Knicks want 2 second-round picks for Cam after giving away a first-round pick for him. The irony. I know, King John. I know. You can't. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, but does that make sense though? They make a report. So when they make reports, people like take that as like law. One little tweet. Oh, you see what they're doing? How do you know that's what's happening? We were supposed to get Kyrie and Durant at one point. We were supposed to get Donovan Mitchell. None of that happened. So a lot of these reports, you had to take it with a grain of salt, as they say.
That's a fact. That's 100% fact, man. There's always something. That's why I'm like, I'm done, and that's why I do that too, guys. If you hear me, I don't always come up with these things in speculation. I'm doing it now because I'm tired of hearing other people's speculation. I'll just make my own. I want to see Jalen Brown, so there you go, done. I'm tired of all the other people that said are going to come here, and I love to bring it up, the whole thing with Durant and how multiple people, Stephen A. I'm 97% sure that Kevin Durant is going to be a New York Knick. Or Bill Simmons, I'm 99% sure that it's going to get done. Yeah, I'm good.
There was Utah Jazz people trying to come up on the story too. And when it was coming up, I heard, according to the people I talked to around the league, that type of stuff, they were trying to make a career out of it, and then they're eating. Well, matter of fact, they just still where they are right now because the trade didn't go through.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it all can look like a certainty until it doesn't. Look, I'm a Met fan, and we had Carlos Correa, and now we don't. So it is what it is. Shout out to Pudge Nice. I see you. Appreciate you. Eddie C is in the building. He said, question. And this is our time for Knick talk. So by all means, guys. He said, question, is Quentin Grimes more valuable at this point than when he was in discussions for Mitchell? No. I think he's just as valuable. We just didn't see it because he wasn't playing. But I think the front office and Tibbs felt like he was that valuable. So we were just like, what? Quentin Grimes might be the reason why the Donovan Mitchell trade is not happening. Now, don't get me wrong. I still think that's a little crazy, but I do understand wanting to keep him because the kid is good and he is going to be better. I'm not going to say he's going to be a star, but he's going to be, I think, a really good basketball player in the NBA for years to come. He's smart too. I mean, he's not perfect. Sometimes his shooting stroke is not there. Sometimes he makes some bad plays, but I chalk that up to more inexperience than not, than being bad. He just makes plays like, we've seen him get trapped, at the half court line because he wasn't sure what to do. He thought he was going to give the ball up. He didn't. Then he got stuck with it. We saw him in another situation make a bad decision when he should have did something else. But when he has time and he has that confidence, you see, like last night, nobody. I mean, I'm not saying nobody did, but I don't think anybody else would have. Quentin Grimes might be the first person I've seen that had the ball come to him, have an easy layup, and decide to pull the ball back out and waste time off the shot clock. They moved the ball around. They got a wide open shot in the corner for Quentin Grimes to shoot the three. He knocks it down, and it becomes an incredible possession. Like, that's smart basketball.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen a lot of Knicks do that in a long time, Eru.
Yeah, he's really good, man. Yeah, I like to think of him as like a Wesley Matthews type. Wesley Matthews, that's a guy that he was good for a long period of time, man. But if you look at his stats, he never really averaged too much more. Well, 16 was his max.
Right.
He averaged around 12, 13. Always shot the ball really well. Good 3-point shooter, played good defense and stuff like that. So right now, that's what Quentin Grimes is basically. He's Wesley Matthews. He does have the potential to be a little bit more. We'll just have to see. But just the thing about like you're saying, his basketball IQ is off the charts. I say it on my show all the time is that whenever he becomes self-aware of himself, because he has an amazing first step. If he doesn't have the 3-point shot, he immediately hits the lane, But once he gets into the lane, he's more looking to kick it out. But every once in a while, he gets that little scoop shot that he does,
Which I like. It looks kind of flavy.
Yeah, it looks nice, man. Yeah, he had a nice little move too, where he kind of like shifted in the air and he still was able to finish. Once he becomes self-aware of himself that he can do that whenever he wants to, then he might be able to take it to the next level. But he's good.
And shout out to D's World of Hoops, my guy D. He highlights, breaks down some of the film after these games, and he also talked about that play of Grimes pulling the ball out. But he also highlighted Grimes has done this at several different points in different games, but last night he did it again, and it was just, man, I haven't seen any Knick player on the team do it. Like there was a play where Grimes got the ball and then he cut into the lane and then he did a no look pass. I mean, it was just a beautiful play, bro. And it's a simple play, but he does it consistently when he has the opportunity. And other guys on the team don't really do it. Shout out to Brunson. I think Brunson is great, but even him as a point guard, he don't make that type of pass that Grimes did. Like, there's some special qualities that Grimes had, and I think the front office, back to that point, I think the front office knew it and they've seen it. And Tibbs, they see it in practice when the guy was healthy, so they wanted to keep him.
Yeah. Also too, Grimes was not going to be the only piece. RJ
Right.
probably would have to been in there. We probably would have had to add some other guys to the trade as well. So, probably Obi and Quickly too might have been in that trade. We don't really know, because just judging off of what Utah gave up, they gave up a decent package for Donovan Mitchell. They didn't just give him away. So
Right.
they gave up a good package. Cleveland. So it is what it is. Forward thinking and stuff. Like we got Quentin Grimes. I think we can almost assure that he's going to be our starting shooting guard, at least for now. So like I said, we have like 30 million or 30 to 40 million dollars worth of players that are we're not using. So if we can do something with that, to clean that up and then to add to what, because we need bench help. So if he was to clean some of that up and to add to the bench in a positive way, then I think that's the better way to go. There's more than one way to win in this league. Donovan Mitchell isn't the end all. People keep talking about it, in a stressful way. There's more than one way to win in basketball. It's a team sport. So
Right.
right now the Knicks didn't make that move, but this forward thinking, man, there's another move to be made. Time moves on. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what the Knicks front office and the fans, I think that's what they should keep their focus on.
Right. I hear you. I'm definitely with you on that. Shout out to the chat once again. Jalen Brown and OG Anunoby. I mean, that would be incredible. That would change this whole Nick team around. If you could, but the problem is, not only would it change the whole team around, I don't know what type of team you have. You'd have to give up a lot of dudes to get those two here. So
Yeah.
I don't know, bro. Like it would be nice, and don't get me wrong, I still think the Knicks could do some special things. But back to the Donovan Mitchell thing, and shout out to Alan Hahn, who when he was on our show, he said that he feels like the Knicks really didn't want to part with all the pieces that Utah wanted to have in order to get Donovan. Like if you just look at what the Knicks had to most likely had to give up and what would be left on the team in comparison to what the Cavs gave up and then what they stood with. Like the Cavs just had much more overall talent. What they got rid of didn't even hurt them. Like
Right.
so, you know what I mean? Like that's the big thing. And he made a point, like, the organization doesn't want to give players to Utah as throw-ins just to make the deal look better when Utah doesn't care about these players. Like they don't care about Quentin Grimes the way the Knicks brass and the way the fans care about Grimes and how he could be a part of our future. And I guess I could understand that. If you invest in these guys, you draft these guys, you're trying to develop these guys and you see the big picture for them, it is hard to just depart with them as throw-ins in a deal just to make the deal happen and then be stuck later. Like, now, how am I going to fill out the rest of this roster? What's my bench going to look like? Uh, I could kind of understand that.
Yeah. Like if you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers team right now, like I don't even remember who they gave up. Because their team is still good. They, like you said, they had so much excess to give up. They still got Cedi
Right.
Osman over there. They didn't give up that draft pick that was drafted with Obi. Isaac Okoro, they didn't give him up.
Right.
They still got Karis LeVert. They still got quite a few players over there. Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. They have a lot of talent. Kevin Love,
And Garland still.
yeah, Garland too. So they still have a big time. Dwayne, excuse me, Dean Wade, Robin Lopez. They have several players over there that can still play this game. So they just had enough talent to give up to make it work.
And they got a guy who played really well for them, but then he got hurt, and he's been hurt ever since. And he's just waiting on the bench. And I think he's almost ready to come back too. Ricky Rubio. Like they had a bunch of dudes over there.
Yeah, he's coming back soon. I think this week. If anybody wants to pick him up in fantasy.
Damn it! I shouldn't have said anything. He
was on my list anyway. So I'm at the top of the fantasy league. I just had
I see,
3 years in a row.
I see how it is. Again. But I figured out what I got to do. I was messing up because I kept hitting that thing, for the weekly changes to change the players, and that killed me all year because sometimes I forget I'm at work or doing something, and then I got nobody. I just said, you know what? From now on, I'm just gonna set my lineup and forget it. And then since I set my lineup, I'm winning everywhere. Maybe not in your league, but I'm winning in other leagues.
Okay.
Not at the top, but I'm playing much better. That's the point. All right. Anyway, shout out to I am Jarrell. He said, "You're what's going on, brother? See you. Um, let's see. Jerry Fitz is in the building. Appreciate you. My guy William, all the way from Brazil, is in the building. Salute. Um,
I see a Roku Saki from the Ninja Turtles there. That's pretty
Oh,
cool.
Roku Saki, I see you. What's good? Appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Dark Matter Rise in the building. Angry Nick fans is here. Salute to you. Appreciate you.
Yep.
Let's see. Craig is in the building. What's good, Craig? He said, "How about develop your picks and turn them into stars? Nobody wanted Jalen Brown from his first 3 years." There's some truth to that.
Well, I mean, Jalen Brown still showed signs, though. You know.
Yeah, he would. I mean, he still had a lot of potential and promise, but he wasn't on everybody's radar like he is now. That is true, but that took some time. I mean, listen, as we said before, that's how crazy it is, dude. At one point last year, they were gonna trade Jalen Brown. This dude's underwater, punching water, jumping in the sand, and they're trying to trade this dude. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Hell no, bro. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. But you know, that's the NBA. That's basketball. That's how things work. Angry Nick fan says multiple front offices have failed on trades and have no idea why. Yeah, it happens. It's just, you know, you just can't really forecast stuff. You can just hope that you have a good plan and that it works out to the best. But you never know. I mean, and shout out to Oroku Saki, said marketing is beasting. Yes, he is. And he looks like a beast. Do you guys seen marketing? Dude's a monster, bro. This dude is like ripped and he's tall, like 7 feet. The dude, and he shoots threes. The dude really, if you just look at his makeup, I'm sure if marketing was coming out of college right now, going into the NBA draft, right now, how he is, he would be like top 5 pick, maybe number 1, because he's got all of this potential talent, the size, the physique, and he can stretch the floor and he can like, you know.
He's showing a killer gene too. He's showing a little bit of a killer gene as well too. Did you see that big dunk he had recently? I forgot how many games ago it was, man. But he was up at the rim and he cocked it back and blah, and then he let out the rah, you know. So you know, not everybody has that in them, you know. So he's showing I mean, he's averaging, I think, like off the top of the head, I think he's averaging like 24, 8, and like 3, I think. You know,
and Eru, that goes back to the whole point where sometimes that's why you can't throw away your talent. Or guys that have potential to be very talented, because you see them, they get on these teams, and what teams love to do is stack up on talent, right? Of course, that's you always want to have as much talent as you can afford, right? But when you get all this talent, sometimes it's, people don't know their roles. They don't know how to be, how to fit in. And marketing was in that situation with the Bulls. He was a little young, so he hadn't really come into his own yet. But by the time he got to the Cavs, when they got marketing, I'll never forget. I was like, what are they doing? Because they got marketing, they had Jarrett, they had some other big, and they had they had Kevin Love, then they had 2 other bigs. I was like, what are they doing with all these bigs?
Yeah.
And, I get it now because they were able to get rid of some of them and then still have a good team. It makes sense. But at the time, like, how does it affect these guys? That's why you don't get to see the best of marketing. Now you throw marketing out to Utah, and the dude is the number 1 option over there, and it shows. And you can see he's doing it easily, bro.
Yeah.
So
I'm looking at that Cleveland team. They had 26 players on their roster last year. 26 players. So that means they were just throwing stuff to the walls and just seeing what would stick.
Wow.
Taco Fall they had Ed Davis, Luke Cornett. They had quite a few players, and Denzel Washington, Denzel Moses Brown. Quite a few players that they had. They just threw against the wall and see who would stick.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. That makes sense. Shout out to Subliminal 209. Salute, appreciate you, my brother. And I believe you guys got your show coming on tonight. In a couple hours. Oh wow, damn. I hate to see bad news. It's always bad news, and there's probably some of these kids that maybe watching or watching today's NBA don't even know who this is. But unfortunately, Lisa Marie Presley died. That's a shame, bro.
Oh wow, Lisa Marie Presley.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's only 54 years old. Crazy. I feel like she's been around forever because we've known her, and being who her father, Elvis Presley, we've known her since she was a little kid. So it's like she's been around for a long time in the spotlight. That's a shame. Somebody said something and I didn't want to miss it, and I think I've already missed it.
Man, 54. I mean, listen, man, time is, like everybody has a day, an expiration date. We just don't know when that is, man. So you got to be present in your life and just do what you want to do. Do what you want to do and have fun doing it. Because you don't know if that's your last day.
There it is. Yeah, and very true, Iru. Well, shout out to the Presley family. Condolences to everybody out there, and condolences to anyone who may be in the chat or watching that is familiar with the Presley family and Lisa Marie and her father Elvis. It's a sad day indeed. Angry Knicks fans said, "What happened to there's going to be another disgruntled star?" Well, there's always going to be another disgruntled star that pops up, Angry Knicks fans. That is true. And I know people have been saying that, and it's one of those things, but we just don't know when. Like, it's going to happen. You just don't know when. And it's hard to kind of really bank on that because that's a what if. Like, anything, you could have a disgruntled star. And this has happened to me in sports a lot of years. Like, there's been teams that I've rooted for, and there's this player that you think wants out. And like, oh yeah, he's gonna be a Nick or he's gonna be a this, and he's talked. And I saw him hanging out last week at Chow, and he was over there chilling, And then, 3 weeks later, oh, blah blah blah, signs a 5-year, $189 million contract to, it happens all the time, man. So you never know. It is what it is.
I think the Knicks already have their quota in that because I'm thinking about Latrell Sprewell. He averaged 24 points one year, 21 the next, right? So he's one of the top players in the NBA. So it took for him to choke his coach out, get kicked out the NBA, reinstated. You know what I'm saying? For us to get the disgruntled star, like we can't wait for somebody like that. And usually, Sprewell drove across town, almost missed training camp. He had a bunch of drama and stuff like that before he became a Knick. So these disgruntled stars have disgruntled stuff that sticks with them, and they're gonna bring their nonsense to us too. So that's not something to bank on either. Disgruntled people, they come with baggage.
Yeah, and sometimes you get a star that you didn't think you were gonna get. He falls in your lap, and then for whatever reason, you get the worst of him.
Right.
And I don't mean like the worst, like they're horrible, but just the stuff that you didn't see them displaying where they were before in their prime, in their heyday. Now you get it. And my example of that is Amari Stoudemire.
Right.
Amari Stoudemire was great before he got here. He gets here. He has a great first year. The Knicks are back. All that stuff. People are like shouting MVP at him. Then as soon as the pressure hits to get to the playoffs, he's freaking punching stuff. He's breaking his, like, all types of weird stuff is happening with Amari now.
Yeah, taking wine baths and all kind of stuff. Like, what the hell? Unbelievable.
That's what I'm saying, man. Sometimes it's just timing. That's how it is. We always wanted stars, and we're like, oh man, finally we get these guys. We get all these guys when they're finished. Rasheed Wallace, Jason Kidd, Antonio McDyess. We get them when they're done.
Right.
It's the worst.
Yeah, Vin Baker. We traded Ewing for Vin Baker, and he comes up to the Knicks, and he's a fucking, excuse my language, but he's like a full-blown alcoholic, a functional alcoholic. Like, Jesus Christ. I had no indication that he was an alcoholic throughout his playing career, and he comes to the Knicks, and he's like a functional alcoholic.
That's like, you can't predict this stuff, and you don't know how it's going to turn out. A guy who we knew might have a weight issue, but we knew he had talent. And really, the weight issue wasn't his issue. He just all of a sudden couldn't play basketball for us. Eddie Curry.
Yeah.
Dude was still young and not playing well. But he came into he was supposed to be a beast. Like it
Look
just
at Mike
happens, man.
Sweeney. Mike Sweeney almost
Oh,
passed out
Mike
when we
Sweetney,
drafted him. I thought he was going to be really good, and then
right?
he ate himself out the league. You know?
Facts.
Yeah.
That's facts. And two things. One, shout out to Drugs Only. Appreciate you. I was just talking about you earlier when I was
Yes.
talking about the guy who does the opening for the Sim show. MBK, nothing but Knicks. You know the rest. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my guy right here. Shout out to him. Great job on that. But
Dope dude too,
so
man. He's absolutely dope.
oh,
Dope dude.
really, really dope. Really dope.
Yeah.
And Subliminal 209 says our front office likes guys with good character traits. I talked about this briefly on another show. How do you feel about this, E-Rule? And we'll touch on a couple things before we get out of here. But do you feel like because the Knicks have tried to change the culture and turn around that type of mentality of some of these guys that might be questionable and bring in better character guys, that we've lost out on some really good NBA talent? Because and it's not just NBA. Any sports you think about, football, baseball, maybe not so much baseball because it's not that physical. It's different. Let's say basketball or football. Some of these players are demons, bro. But they're really good at what they do. But they use all of that energy, whatever, and they take it out in the sport.
Right.
You think that maybe because we've kind of looked to get all these high character guys that we might be losing out on talent. Maybe that's the reason why, we draft such and such instead of a guy, who we could have drafted, who got picked 4 picks later, and he becomes a really good player in the league, but we didn't want to take a chance. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, it just goes back into our history. Everyone keeps talking like, especially people in our generation. Let's bring it back to the '90s. When we used to play defense, hard-nosed defense. Let's get some defenders in here like that, guys that care. Usually, when you get guys like that, they're crazy. Like Charles Oakley was out of his mind. As you can see now, at 50-something years old. I mean, there was a famous story where Oakley, somebody owed him money. I think it was Jeff McGinnis on the Clippers. He owed him money, so he told him, next time I see you, I'm going to slap the snuff out of you. So the second he saw him during shoot around, he walked over there and slapped the snuff out of him. But that's what you got to do. And you want an enforcer, somebody tough like that, and that's what comes with it. So even like a guy like Julius, we wanted a hard worker. Julius is absolutely a hard worker, but he's crazy. He's absolutely insane. Look at Brunson. Brunson's he's super tough, but he sacrifices his body so much. But he's so tough. But that comes with it. He's gonna kill himself. Playing so hard, but you have to deal with that. So you just got to be very careful what you ask for. You asking for these type of players, you have to deal with everything that comes with them, man. So, high caliber players is one thing, but you got to be very careful because Obi Toppin is a high character player, but he might be a little soft. IQ is a high caliber player. He's erratic. There's a couple things that goes along with that. But I mean, nothing's a sure thing. That's one thing I gotta say. That the thesis statement of what I'm saying. Nothing's a sure thing. You can make a bet on a certain type of player, and it just might not work out for you.
Yeah, that's 100% facts. It's very true. And so that's like one of those things. Like they're gonna have to really take a step back and reevaluate certain things when it comes to the NBA draft. I think this NBA draft is going to be one of the most important NBA drafts ever for this New York Knicks franchise. And I don't necessarily feel like they feel that way. Because they're, some of these guys are good. They're good players. They've shown that they can play, and we've won games with them. And if we get everybody playing at the same time, healthy and locked in, you could see some good results. But that doesn't mean this is where you should settle and stop. If the Knicks get a draft pick in a good spot, and they're able to, secure some good talent, you got to draft that guy and you shuffle the deck. So, and I think the Knicks need to look to that because we already know going into this offseason, there's not a lot of money.
Yeah.
So how else are you going to bring in that talent? It's either trade or it's, a draft pick if you secure somebody like, because, the Knicks haven't shown a track record of getting that lucky, but you never know. Never say never, because the Knicks could have like the 18th pick and they could pick this kid and this kid could be a monster. You just never, anything could happen.
I mean, yeah, look at I mean, some of our players that we have. Look at Quickly, look at Mitchell Robinson. Not everybody's hits. You get the Kevin Knoxes of the world and the Frank Ntilikina's, so it's a hit and miss. But the Knicks get, like you said, this is a very important offseason for the Knicks, draft wise. Also, just trying to get that extra player. We seem to add a player every year. So if the Knicks can add another guy next year and draft well, then that'll take us a little further along the path. At least until until Jalen Brown becomes available in 2024. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's right. Until we get Jalen Brown. But if we ever get Jalen Brown, let me tell you something. I'm not one of those people that to my own. We get Jalen Brown, you guys better. Oh, Ron. Shout out to Jerry Fitz. Appreciate you. I might have said your name again, but if I did, it's okay. I'm gonna say it twice. Hamilton Lee is in the building. Salute to you. Zigzag Zigala is in the building. Thank you for being here. So I just want to go over real quick the game preview for tomorrow night's game against Washington, where Eru will be in attendance with a lot of the MBK crew and others who might have purchased the ticket to watch that game in person. It should be a really fun MBK event. So definitely shout out to everybody who is going to be in attendance. Appreciate y'all. Let me see if I can pull that up. Let's see. So it's tomorrow against the Wizards. Oh, I hate this, man. This gets me so frustrated, man. If you go to the Knicks on NBA.com, there's two ways to get to the team. If you go the regular way, you usually get to see exactly what you want to see.
Yeah.
But if you go, there's a different way, bro. It gives you a whole different look, and you can't see anything the way you want to see it.
Yeah. Well, one way has all the graphics, the other way doesn't have anything. So
yeah, dude,
it's extremely frustrating.
I'm like, I thought it was just me, but now I see fellow content creators, man. That's why we need you. This is good for me, for my soul.
Yeah.
All right. For whatever reason, I got a gateway error and the damn thing wasn't popping up. Okay, hold on. Maybe we can get it going here, folks.
Yeah, that's NBA.com for you. The gateway error. I just don't understand what that means. Gateway error, man. I click the button, go to the page that I asked to go to. What is going on here?
You know what I mean? Like this dumbness. Okay, finally got there. I had 8 clicks to get here. Come on, man. This is I'm trying to put on a show here, folks. what we doing here? All right, let's share the screen, guys. Okay, and then let me get this out of here because this is gonna look crazy. All right. Okay, guys. So here's the game preview for tomorrow night's game. And as I always say, whenever I click on these type of things and look at upcoming games, I love to look at this because so many times you look at these different teams, no matter who it is, it could be the Knicks and Boston or whoever, and you look at what they do traditionally, and these teams are so close in certain aspects. In this case, you guys see New York Knicks are averaging 114 points per game. Wizards are averaging 111. Knicks are averaging 47.3 rebounds. Wizards are averaging 44. Knicks get 22.9 assists. Wizards get 24.9. 6.7 steals to 6.8. That's very even. 4.2 blocks to the Wizards 5.4. 12.5 turnovers to the Wizards 13.7. Knicks are shooting 45.5 from the field. Wizards are shooting 48.2. From 3, the Knicks are shooting 33.9, which has gone up a little bit lately because they got, they had some good games. The Wizards are shooting 34.4. And then from the free throw line, 77.8 to 77.1. Once again, another evenly matched game for the most part. It's just all about who plays better on the given night. This is always interesting to me. And then just to round it out, points in the paint, look at that, 51.9 to 52. Second chance points, 17.5 for the Knicks to 12.8 for Washington. And fast break points, 12.1 to 12.7. Once again, as however you look at the Knicks, however you look at the Wizards, they're a very evenly matched matchup. So it's about who plays better,
or who shows up for each team. Because Kristaps, I don't think is gonna. He might play. Definitely, Bill is not playing. He's always hurt. So it really depends on who plays. I'm looking at the last game they played. They played against the Bulls. That guy Danny Avdija, he had 20 rebounds.
What?
Yeah, Danny Avdija, he's not like a rebounder, and he had 20
Yeah,
rebounds, so
that's wild.
yeah, that plays into what we're talking about. Like any given day, you don't know who's gonna bust out on some of these teams.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, like that's a really good point. And so we can just hope that the Knicks play a solid brand of basketball. And honestly, I know guys are a little frustrated. Last night's game, was it last night? I think it was last night against the Pacers. Was that last night?
Yes.
Yeah, time flies. Last night game was kind of frustrating because the Knicks came out and they looked really good. Everybody was healthy for the first time since November or December, early December, something like that. So it was really good to see. And then they started to fall apart in typical Knicks fashion, not being able to close out games and almost lost the damn game.
Yeah.
But what I will say is we should be happy that they still got the win, because honestly, I know there's some people that are looking at the Knicks and saying this is still bad. When you look at them, it's bad basketball. What I'm saying is the fact that this Knicks team has been winning without these guys, and these guys are all coming back. Like Obi's back. It's his second game. RJ came back. It's his first game. Like, and they're thrust right into the lineup. And usually when stuff like that happens, the chemistry gets a little messed up because guys are used to getting certain touches. Now they're not getting those same touches because other guys are here. And yet somehow the Knicks were able to pull the game out and win. If you give it a little time, I think they'll be okay. I think they'll be fine, because the only good thing that I always say, and I'll see how Eru feels about it, when these injuries happen or health, safety protocols, all this stuff, guys have a chance to step up and grow and show you something and how they can add value to the team. And once they get that, it builds their confidence. So when we get these guys back, now your whole team is better. So that's what I think. I think we're getting there, because I think right now having RJ back now, having Obi back, Obi hopefully has to get it together. You're dealing with a much better Quickly. You're dealing with a much better Grimes. Like, these guys are much more confident and they're playing better basketball. And then not to mention what you're getting from Julius and Jalen. Even Mitch at times has shown me a little something more than I've seen in the past. So for the most part, I think it's all been plus. The only negative is probably Hartenstein's gotten worse, but it is what it is. Yeah. Well, what do you think about that?
Well, Hartenstein, I think he's been hurt all year because he's been complaining about like a calf or an Achilles injury and a lower back injury. So he might just need to go out for a little while and let just to give Jericho Sims a chance to play. To force Tom Thibodeau to play Jericho some more minutes and stuff. But I'm listening to you with with the thing. I think the Knicks. Everybody says the same thing. We need a backup power forward. We need a backup. What do you call swingman kind of thing? So essentially, getting Obi and getting RJ back gives us that, because we were winning without them. We was playing so well that it's like we didn't need them. To a point. You know what I'm saying? So now that we get them back, is as if we were getting what we've been asking for. So I'm with you, man. I'm hoping that through the new confidence that these guys are showing out on the court, that it just like things really start to blend better. That might have been the big issue of just from coming into the season, just building that chemistry. It takes time for new players and new roles and stuff for people to really get it, people to trust each other. So I'm hoping that right now, like towards now it's January now, so hopefully at this point in the year the Knicks can get some kind of momentum going with a healthy club, and then we can move on from there. Because maybe just getting better is something that we can do internally rather than waste so much energy complaining about that trade. Maybe just internally we can get it done.
Yeah. And I understand in the chat there is guys that are really down on, and we predicted this, guys. I don't know. There was different shows. I didn't talk about it as much, but other shows had predicted and said next year, Julius was the bad guy. There's going to be a new bad guy on the Knicks. And some people called it and they knew who it was going to be. And this year we're seeing it. It's RJ.
Right.
And so there's a lot of fans that are down on RJ. And I understand it. I mean, he hasn't done himself any favors because he did typical RJ. He started off slow again. He started off really worse than he's ever been, because not only was he inconsistent, but then he was playing horrible defense and he was making really bad decisions out there in the court. So that to me was kind of surprising. The defense, I knew it was not the greatest, but it was really bad. But the decision making, usually RJ doesn't make that bad of decisions. Like this was bad. But I think over the time that he got his mojo back and he had that 10-game stretch where he was playing really good and then he got hurt and he's back. And even though he was very inefficient last night, he still put up good numbers and he was in the game and played 41 minutes or 40 minutes. So, and the Knicks won. If they lost, then you could say him coming back and being inefficient hurt them. Uh, but I just think that it's one of those where, look, RJ's here and he's not going anywhere because most likely this Knicks team is not ready to move from him. Just like Julius, the Knicks don't want to trade Julius either. So you got to deal with the team and root for the team because these are the players we got and hope that they play better a brand of basketball. And I think RJ, say what you will, but that type of game he played coming back from being injured for a few games and missing all this stuff and not be, I thought it was pretty good considering he hadn't been playing. Now, if he goes out there tomorrow night and he plays the exact same way, I'm not going to look at it the same way. I'm going to look at it like, he could have played a lot better tonight because he's already been out there. And sorry if I'm a little nasally, guys. I made the mistake of doing it. I always do this. For whatever reason, I decided to drink coffee instead of drinking water. And, I get all stuffed up. But whatever. So, yeah, but that's the thing, guys. I just think that I'm with you. And even though RJ is my favorite player, and I'm not capping for him because when RJ plays bad, I'd let it be known because he's played bad this year. Right now, I think you should be really happy that the dude came back and played 40 minutes and gave some good points, like I said, I'm really nasally, some good effort, even though he was terribly inefficient. But we should be happy that he did something. He could have really stunk it up and done nothing out there. So,
yeah, my expectations of that game, I thought he was going to have a horrible game. I expected him to have a down game. That's what I expected. But he came out guns blazing as if he was here the whole time. So that's a great sign. That's a sign of evolution of a player. While he's hurt and stuff like that, maybe he's watching tape. Maybe he's like more involved in the practices and stuff like that. So that just shows the evolution of the player, man. So it's exciting. Like I get on Mitchell Robinson. Guys know that. I came on Steph's show on this channel talking bad about Mitchell Robinson. Everybody was getting mad at me and stuff like that. There's little things that drive me crazy with Mitchell Robinson, but I still believe in the kid. I could talk badly about him and still, talk good about him. The same thing like you said about RJ. There's things that RJ does that drives me crazy, but I can still believe in the kid. So I think that's what the focus needs to be on. Just what these guys do well, because we already know what they do bad. So to constantly keep bringing that up all the time, what they do bad, it just takes away from the whole big picture. It's a team sport. We there's another night, there's another game every other night. You know what I'm saying? And in the end, there's a bigger picture to look forward to. So, I think that's where everyone should really focus on the bigger picture with all this stuff.
yeah. I think I agree with that, Eru. I think we got to look at the bigger picture and focus on that and root for our guys, man. Show them that we're behind them, and let them feel like they're wanted, especially when you're in the building. If you're in the building, root for our guys, man. Show them that we care, and hopefully they give you that effort that you want. Because if these Knicks players play with effort every night, I'm telling you, we're going to be in a much better position to win games. Effort matters a lot. If they don't give us the effort, then you can get up, because the least you could do is give us the effort. And then say what you will about RJ's being inefficient, because we know he was last night, but he started off very efficient.
Right.
I mean, he was 3 for 4 from 3 in the first half. So he was playing well, considering he was not playing, the last few games out being, hurt. So you take the good with the bad and just hope that it doesn't go left. Like he can stay somewhat consistent. Yeah. Shout out to you guys. I appreciate the chat was bubbling. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching the show. And I definitely thank my guy Eru for being here and filling in as always. He's my, I would say like he's one of my go-tos, but he kind of is the go-to because I say, let me reach out to MBK fam, see if anybody could do anything. First guy I go to is Eru, and usually I don't got to go nowhere else. And I appreciate that, bro. I thank you, man. I love chopping it up with you. I always have a good time. And I just think that I'm happy. I'm blessed to be a part of this MBK fam.
Yeah, we all have good chemistry, all of us, man. So whoever you call on is always going to give you a good sidekick for the day. Shout out to John too, man. John's dope. I filled in for you one time, and
All
me and
right, I know.
yeah, we had a good show too, man. So I'm here for you guys.
Yeah,
Even though I have
man.
my own channel, you guys call me, I'm here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That's why the MBK fam is special. Say what you will. There's other channels out there. There's a lot going on. We support everybody in the community, but MBK fam has something special, and that's why you get the product you get. We have a great time doing it, and outside you could see the love, because outside of this thing, when we hang out with each other, it's a fantastic time. So yeah, it's really dope, really dope. And I'm kind of jealous that I'm not going to be out there tomorrow, but that's okay. You guys have fun. Whatever you do, buy another round, get one for me.
Yeah, I'll be doing it because I don't drink, so I'm gonna be supplying everybody with
Yeah,
with alcohol
get me a
tomorrow.
nice lemon spritz.
Okay, sounds like a plan, man.
Yeah, shout out to Life is Rosie. Thank you for being here. If this is your first time, appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we appreciate it. And hit that like button, guys, on your way in and on your way out. We appreciate it. Let me just see if there's anybody else. Just want to give anybody else a shout out. If I see you, a new name or anything. Yeah, I think I got everybody. Nick Yak. Salute to Nick Yak. Appreciate you. Thank you for being here as well, brother. GI. Damn, GI, you jumped in right when we getting off, man. But I appreciate you, bro. Watch the replay. This was another good conversation, chopping it up with Eru, man. So if you got nothing to do and don't mind watching a replay, by all means, bro. And that's the same for anybody who might have tuned in right now. Smash that like button. Show your love not only for Eru, but for Still Nick fans, Ron, John, Jose, and show your love for the whole MBK fam and my guy Sib, the Podfather, because this is the network. All right, man. So final words, Eru. Anything you got going on coming up in the near future?
Nope. Just support the Hard Knicks podcast. Right now, I'm really focusing on the watch alongs and stuff. As as the sun starts to come, set a little later, maybe I'll get the juices flowing to start, getting into the normal diehard stuff, man. So tune in for that. Continue to support and we'll continue to work on putting more stuff out for everybody, man.
And yes, man, and shout out to Subliminal 209. He is Blarn's Tears, but Blarn's Tears is extended MBK fam. So that as Freezy will tell you, that's where he started really getting the love to do his own podcast. So it's all connected, bro. It's all connected. Yeah. And Ghetto Intellect as well, another part of the Blarn's Tears fam. So yeah, man, appreciate all you guys. Thank you guys once again for being here. Shout out to all y'all. As I always like to say, John would say, God bless, good night. He's always the Russell Simmons of this whole thing. You know what I mean? But as I say, tell a friend who tells a friend who tells another friend. Still Nick fans, we'll be back again. Whether it be on the NBA Report, Nothing But Knicks, 8 p.m. on Thursdays. Know the Ledge, Saturday mornings at 11 a.m., where you guys are welcome to jump on the panel and share your thoughts, or on Monday nights, SKF Weekly at 9 p.m. Still Nick fans, we got you covered, okay? So appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your evening. Enjoy. Let's go Knicks. Let's hopefully they win another one tomorrow, right? What do you think, Eru? You think we're going to win tomorrow? I didn't even ask you that.
We better win. Our seats changed, man. Sim had us in the 100s, but something happened with the reservation or whatever, so we got pushed back to the 200s. So if I was on the 100s, you would have saw full Eru going nuts out there, going crazy if it gets hectic out there. But I'm gonna be up in the 200s, so you probably won't see me acting up. But I'm gonna be acting up, man. We have to win. I think we have to win against the Wizards.
Oh man, damn! Eru in the 100s, that would have been.
I'm ready, man.
That would have been crazy.
So if those want to look for me, man, where's it at? I'm wearing a Carhartt hoodie. I'm gonna be wearing the same one because I was gonna put on my Die Hard Knicks hoodie, but I couldn't find it, so I took this out the plastic and threw it on, man. So that I'll be wearing this tomorrow. So
all right,
be on the lookout for me.
Dope. And guys, once again, if you wasn't here earlier, this is Still Nick Fans' 50th episode of the NBA Report on MBK. So we did it, folks. We got the 50. Yay! That's right. Okay.
Oh my God.
It's crazy. All right, guys, man. Take care. Have a great rest of your night. Unfortunately, the rest of my night is Eru knows it's not going to be great. So I'm going someplace now that I don't want to go, but
yeah,
it's family. Anyway, I'm out of here. Take care. I'll holla at y'all. Stay up. Run that shit.